We are in the middle of a new move, and in our new location, we're just still setting up different parts of the internet. Everything in this video is not financial investment or trading advice of any kind. Everything is just for entertainment, educational, and comedic purposes only. I eat red crayons for breakfast. Trading in the markets carries substantial risk. Never trade more than you can afford to lose, and especially be aware against high leverage trading. This is never also medical, nutritional, or nutritional advice of any kind. Past performance is never indicative of future performance. We'll begin where we left off. The recording for the beginning parts of the video, when we did have some internet issues, did interfere with the recording. Let's have a recap of what we discussed in the first part of our session. We were looking at a crypto called MOVER, which was very interesting because we just finished moving. And in this crypto called MOVER, we were looking at the high level weekly charts to tell the bulk of the story. We can actually see that on this high level weekly chart, the essence of the move should be really right here. That's where the cores are of those candles are, rather than on the daily chart, which would put us somewhere right in the middle of this area. And so we found as that this is the chart where you want to read the bulk of the energy. And as such, we can see a few things regarding MOVER. Connecting those energy centers together, we're able to create a key angle, and placing the key angle at the bottom energy center, we have our phantom down here. Okay, we can see that a sickness will enter if we go below here on MOVER, and a health would enter if we are building on top of this angle. Okay, this angle right here in orange or yellow. Okay, so that was just me highlighting. It would look something like that. Okay, we look to build along those prices. Current price is 0.025 cents, and those areas would be closer to 0.034 cents for this one. Drawing this, we could see that there's the step up around 26 to 22, or sorry, 0.026 to 0.022, and 0.0175 and 0.028 is the other step up. So we should be looking to find supports at those areas, but if we are not able to close below, then we should be going down much further, even all the way to new lows along this track of 0.005 would be the prices for right now, 0.005 or 0.004 areas, somewhere really down here. Okay, that's what we're looking if we're building below these step ups. So if those step ups are not holding, that's where you're looking to go next. We can also see that there is a chance that there may be a breakout to the top side of these areas. We can see that there was some accumulation that happened on the bottom, and even though there was some sell-off here at the top, it was still it looks like it was targeted down at these low prices. We can see because the result was much higher prices, reading the volume spread analysis. Okay, we can see that there was shorter term weakness that just entered in on the daily chart. That was the weekly chart. This is the daily chart. So over the last few weeks, we should have been going down once we started closing below these areas and building up to the top side, and we have been going down. We did find support at the first step up at that 0.26 area. So that's normal. But it doesn't mean to buy, because we can just be buying down in this wedge. We need to see the next health come in, which is here. Okay, and we do see also a multi-touch flat daily. I don't have the picture for you here, but when we examined the flat, we can actually see it's almost exactly the same, with these 2 points here in white where I'm pointing at being my verification for that. Okay, so that would mean if we do go up now in these prices, we'd only be looking to go up to about 146%, which is still good. It's still some money on the table, but we'd be looking to break above these areas and collect that money in between here and there. That would be the next area of profit. Okay. The other thing we were looking at, and I think that was all. So for me, I would want to wait until we're really clear in building it. I put a little alert in this transparent flat line so that I'm alerted. You can do the same thing. Just draw an angle along the angles that I've drawn if you're replicating my maps. And no matter what trading style or system you use, all of them could be improved by having a price map and showing you some of the strongest energy and the strongest territories of what it is that you're looking to trade. Let's look at the next one, which is CHR. We can see this one appears to have been targeted for distribution. Reading the volume spread analysis, from what I understand, I believe this is distribution in these areas, and we should be going down once the energy is all absorbed. And we can see that drawing the trend lines, we can see that the weakness entered here in this green area, and we should have started going down from there, and we have been going down from there. But in addition to all of that, we are in an uptrend. We are making higher lows and higher highs in this. So, and that's in the longer term weekly story. So over the past few years, okay, so this is over the past few years. Now the good news is there's some bad news and good news. The bad news is that in the last year or so, we have been in a smaller downtrend. But within the context of the larger uptrend, we can see that this is correct. The mid-phantom's correct, the mid-phantom verifications are correct in the exact areas where they should be. The step-ups are correct. They're in the exact areas where they should be, here and here. So that's a sign that we're still in this uptrend. And the other good news is that there has been a smaller parabolic downtrend that we've been down, but the health entered in on these candles right here. So the health is now in this crypto. So for C, it's actually in a healthier bullish territory. So longer term, that's a good news for CHR. The bad news is that we're at a step up right now, and this candle that looks above it has not closed. Okay, so there's still 1 day and 10 hours left as of the filming of this video. So that means Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is what you're looking. If the candle looks like this at Sunday night 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that's good. We may get a smaller pullback, but I think we should be able to go to the next higher high and higher target. But as it is, it also just happens to overlap a target area, okay? And what that means is that there is supposed to be top profit taking at 0.26 and 32. So this may mean that we may have a long down candle and reject in these areas, okay? We may have a long down candle and reject in these areas by Sunday night. So be careful buying this right now. Okay, and most likely we're going to round to these areas and we're going to come back down to some of these prices over here. So what would that look like? If it was today and we shot down dramatically, it would be somewhere around 0.1050, okay, 0.10 cents and 50 at the end, okay, but most likely it's going to come down organically and smooth, so we're probably looking somewhere around 0.155. But either way, I would be looking for this to go down in the shorter term, okay, over the next few weeks, because we are at a natural target. If we're able to build and clear above this target for CHR, I could see us easily getting to $1 and 102, because that is where the next target is. Although it's smaller, we're in an uptrend. That's something I would like for CHR. So as it is, I wouldn't really touch it just yet. Let somebody else take the risk and push it through that target zone and clear it. Let somebody else do that. You don't have to take risky investments. You can let the market naturally decide what the right prices are, okay? And that's just using wisdom, using your head. The next crypto we were looking at was HOT. When we were looking at HOT, it was very interesting because I am as well. Who didn't laugh at that joke? That's a good joke. All right. Very much, Roya. I can always count on you. Thank you very much. Someone says, suck up. Here we go. We got round energy here along this. This is the essence of this move, and this is the exception to the rule, what I call hidden battler. And that would put the energy centers more closer to here and here. But this is me reading on the weekly chart. I felt like I needed to check this on the monthly chart, and I had a more accurate trade, but we'll get to that in just a second. Here was the two informations we got from there. This is hidden battler number 1 at 0.00048 and hidden battler number 2 at 0.0029. It says HB1 and they both say HB1, but this lower one should say HB2. Okay. It doesn't matter which one you write as HB1 or 2, just make sure you put them both. Okay. But that's a little error on my part. So this would have given us the key angle and the phantom angle on top, the ghost of the original key angle. And as we went to the monthly chart, I can actually see that the cores are more here. And so the angle is slightly adjusted. Okay. And as we adjust for that correct key angle on the monthly chart, I put phantom monthly and phantom key angle. This is more correct, okay? I believe. The step ups are also verified in the past, exactly where they should be. And here on the top would put our resistance closer to here in the sky, which means there's still money on the table for HOT. Let's take a look more closely at HOT. On HOT, we can see that there's a smaller parabolic that starts about here, but it does not include this top portion. So that means that we may be looking to have some resistance somewhere in those areas up in the sky around 0.034 area. That's just something to keep on your radar. The other thing we should know is that there's been a sword cut that I drew along this path, because that's where our sword cut would be based on our parabolic, and we are rounding down. We are starting to round down. So I would expect us to fall a little bit further to these areas on the larger story on HOT. Okay, so you need to know that it's probably going to fall to the sword cut. But as it is, even on the smaller daily chart, some health has came in based on the smaller parabolic that I've drawn on a daily chart. There's some health that has came in, and it's very possible because of that we should read this a little closer. When we read it closer, I found 3 smaller targets around 0.0016 and 0.0017. So we did find support at target number 1, which is where we should be bouncing, and therefore there may be a small trade that is now in these days, okay, that may take us up. Now when we go up, we may be going up to 0.0020 and then coming back down to 1.0016 to hit it properly, if that's the case. When we start getting near sword cuts, I'm almost always expect those sword cuts to get hit, especially when we're really close. Most likely we're going to get hit. So that's the danger of this one, is that the support is actually a little bit lower, but there's a sign that health is even on the smaller time frames now. And reading RSI location, we can see that there's health right now on RSI using our RSI location. Okay, so that's going to be another sign that right now might be the time to buy this crypto. If you buy it now, the downside is that we may go properly to those sword cut areas, and it's somewhere down here. And of that, the other target overlaps the low side of the orange sword cut. So we can see the other target in teal color, in green, or what you think is green, overlaps the bottom side of this sword cut on my left hand, where I'm showing right here. Okay, so if we go down, we may be going down to the lower side of the target, because that's overlaps the range where sword cut is at. Okay, as it is, the money that's on the table is 35%, but if we go down here, we're going to be adding another 20% on top of that. So that may look like an 80% move if we can buy it at 0.0014. Otherwise, if we're buying it right now, we may be pleasantly surprised to see a move up to that 0.0020 area is where we might be looking, okay, or the old high. Okay, all right. And the next thing, we were talking about Prophet Robin. We were interested in what he had to say about Binance. So we hope to see Mr. Mall after class to give us a summary of some of those talking points that Prophet Robin was mentioning about. Prophet Robin has called me up and made some personal prophecies about me, and I thought that was very wonderful that all those things turned out to be the case. And I'm really grateful when he saw on our channel. Let's now look at Pulse Chain. Here's what I see on Pulse Chain. Pulse Chain's a very new crypto. It looks like it appears to be a new crypto. This is in wrapped Ether, wrapped Ethereum, and this is measured in USDC coin. Okay, USDC. Okay, and it looks like a launch coin that was launched to the negative, from what I can see. Otherwise, it was maybe trading much higher. But as it is on most of these coins, they're a type of launch coin. They're based on a lottery system, and then the market eventually settles and finds the average price. We can find our first major swing, or our major energy center, the center of this energy, right here. Okay, so we only have really one point. So this is very small energy on which to read this crypto.
Yeah, Sean, can you show this on the DEX tools?
Can I show it on DEX tools? Yeah, let me take a look.
I'll put the link in the chat.
Thank you. All right, here we go. Okay. Good, much better. Pulse DAI. WPLS DAI. Let's go to it on the daily. Why does that look so different? Looks very different. That's weird. We'll do our best. All right. So this is Wrap Pulse on a daily chart, and I'm going to minimize myself. He must become greater, and I must become less. Name the person who said that. Bonus points for you at the end if you know who said that quote. He must become greater, and I must become less, or lesser.
John the Baptist.
Oh, good. Who was that? Is that Sharon?
Sharon, yes.
Wow.
Yes, Sean, you have to change to logarithmic skill.
Oh, thank you. Ah, good catch. DEX tools. All right, so we're going to change the scale to logarithmic, which is going to be right here at the bottom on the lower right hand corner. Click on that and make sure you click on logarithmic. All right, we'll click countdown to bar close as well. Good. Let me take a picture of this because a lot of these doesn't save. Thank you, sweetie. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw right on this chart. Going into my photos, and we'll do our best. Here we go. A man on his journey to draw on a chart that is unrelenting. Join us on Dive, episode 178. Okay, so let's draw some of the flow first for this crypto. Oops. Let me draw two of them. I have some strong round action here in this area.
You have still the old copy of the chart.
Oh, is this still the old copy? No way. Oh yeah, because I didn't delete that first one. Ah, you're right. Good job. Thank you very much, InvestBox. You're going to be the host next time. It's a good catch. He has a good eye. I don't mess up. A partner he never thought would join. Here we go. That's in a bad color. What about this? No. Let's pull up my crayons. Okay. Look at this round action that we have here. We're going to use this as the bottom energy center for the hair. Okay. We can see that's to be the case. Mark that area here. We are also going to connect some of these strong peaks in these areas. I can see a strong parabolic area. We're going to need to mark the sword cut. Let's draw that one, okay? There's not really a need for us to draw, but if you wanted to, and you're drawing this manually, you want to connect these areas as best you can, and then just draw the middle area when you see them, okay? But we're gonna keep this area in mind. If you look really carefully, there's a tip here and a tip here, so we should be going approximately at that angle. So this tells us it's not straight, but rather curved a bit. If you're drawing it manually on an iPad, it'll try to straighten out your angles for you. So let's try to connect all of them like here. But it's basically this top. There's an art to it when you're doing it by hand. And here is the other confirmation that this is all correct. Here and here, these two dots where I'm drawing right here, round action here, and a peak. That peak is lower, but it's all in alignment with that, okay? The most important thing we get is this area here. So that's where we're going to draw our first major line. And if you don't know how to draw that, it's okay. I'm just going to give you the price. We're looking approximately in this area, maybe a little bit lower. Okay? That's going to be our sword cut area. Should be just a hair lower. And those prices are going to be closer to 0.00059. Somewhere around, that's way lower, sorry. Between 5.9 and 6.7. That's give us about the top side 0.00. I need to write it over here. 0.5. We'll say about there. 6.5. Okay. So just use that range. 5.9 to 6.5 should get you in the ballpark of where you're expecting support. Okay. So we would be expecting support if we came to that. Okay. I'm not saying that's going to happen. We'll look at a few tools regarding this. The other thing we're going to look at is if we're in health based on those parabolics, okay, then, and we're on the healthy side of price, we need to look at the descent. What was happening before we broke into the health? The angle that happened was an angle that is about right here, okay? And we can take that angle, let's give it a different color, and that will be our key angle. We can duplicate this out, and we're going to put it on the top energy center, which is right here. Okay. This is actually a foundational area. I cover this in lesson number 9 and lesson number 10 of Sword Method 5.0. Okay. They're all on our website for Dive Tier members. You guys can have a lot of those. These two other points here are just verification that we did it correctly. Here also is a point of verification that you did it correctly. This would be us building on the roof. So this is bullish. Okay, the other verification is here. So according to this, we should be finding support in close to these areas. There's a margin of error, but it's pretty accurate. Okay, so this is a sign of health. All right, so this is health and this is health in these areas. That's great. That's perfect. Okay, the next thing we can do is, if we're already on the top side, we can do a projection where it's very possible this line on top is just the mid phantom, and therefore our phantom is actually going to be much higher. So let's see if we can do that real quick by taking this, and we're going to duplicate it out another 50%. The easiest way to do that is just to take a line from the top to the bottom. It doesn't even have to be straight up and down. It can be any angle. And then just move that up, and now you have the distance of the top. Okay. Let's do this as a projection. We might be looking at prices up here as potential profit. Okay, somewhere here's today, so we might be looking at somewhere here for potential exit if this is going to be the mid phantom. If we were labeling it, we might want to, on another chart, we might want to label it as possible mid phantom. Pos phantom. All right, what's next? Step up would be, we're not going to do all those step ups. If we take this as it is, as its current PA, mid phantom would be 50% off, 50% away, so that would be that, correct? So as it is right now, that is our mid phantom. In reality, I would take that top line and I would also fade it away because it's only a possible line. All right, so that's going to be something that's great. There's our mid phantom verifications along that angle. This angle, step ups would have been here, and the other step up would have been somewhere here. No verification, no response. Maybe a resolve here. Energy. February. Okay, this might be a good month for this. Let's look at this a little bit more. I like this crypto so far. Let's now go to, let's see what we can do to push the limits of this. I'm going to now go to back to the DEX tools chart. And let's put on RSI indicator on here. Okay. And do I have what's a very basic? Okay, here's our smooth average. Good. And then I'm going to look at this real quick. Okay. All right, using RSI location, we can see our last big boom was recently. If we were looking at the move up that we recently had, our RSI location for our energy center, which was on the left side, is here. So that's where our range would be. That's where we're actually looking in this case for RSI. It's different for each crypto. A lot of people don't catch this part when they're looking at RSI, but the range is from here to here. Oops, let me go down a little bit further. We're looking for pullbacks on this. A lot of people just read the 70 and 30, and many times they're right, but these are the two locations for this crypto. It would have been here and here. So those are the 2 points we would have been looking to experience bullishness. The first one being right here, and the second one being here. Okay, so there should have been bullishness at those 2 areas, and there was. We're far now from our last any new entry on using RSI, so that's something just to take note of. That's interesting. Let's look at Looks like a little bit of a lot of supply in this area. You can see prices coming back to challenge that supply. I want to look at this a little bit closer on the 12 and 6 hour chart. There's no 6 hour chart on this one, so we're going to look at it on a 12 hour. There's still some health on here. Good. I'd be looking at a few different things on this crypto. On this 12-hour chart, we can see round action here and here. We're going to draw a line from here to there. We're going to take this angle as a key angle, duplicate up at the last core in the energy center, which is right there where those candles are forming. And we're now also going to look at this area for the next health. There would be health like that around there. That would be actually some bullishness. We can actually find out whatever prices those are by going to the right. If it's today, we would be looking at something like these prices, 0.0016 area for your next buy or potential target. The other thing is that if we're reading this on a smaller scale, you can see that health has just entered in. So this is healthy at the moment in this smaller uptrend, but it's not necessarily a lot of money that's on the table today. There's not like a lot of money on that. Let's see, the price is 0013 and 0016. Might be worth something. Okay, we're just doing this by hand manually. I would be looking for here as a enter of sign of weaknesses that are appearing, but as it is, there's a recent sign of health on the smaller time frame. Since we're a little bit above the sky in no man's land, I can't really in good conscience say, yeah, we need to get that one. But if we look at it closely, if we look at it closer as well, that was another sign of health and sword cut that is untouched from these areas. Okay, there would have been a sword cut about down here, which is also in that original reading of the energy. This is the sword cut. This should be orange. Okay, so let's go over what we found out.
Question.
Yes, sir.
I put a chart from my side. I put it in the chat. Is my mid phantom then not correct?
Let's take a look at your mid phantom. It may be. I didn't draw all the things that I drew. Let's see. No, your mid phantom appears correct. Let's look at my photo. What did we do? The first one. Yeah. So you can't see his photo. Can I save your photo?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me just send it to my iPad real quick. Okay, hold on. So I'll show you what you drew. You drew everything correct. Let me get your photo in the notes. There it is. Of your photo that you drew right now. Oops. What am I doing? What did I... Okay, of your photo that you drew, we had covered this side. You stretched your phantom back farther for that possible phantom that we did. And because you did that along the same angle, it would have more verification and proof that when we did our phantom, it was correct. So I did this as possible angle. If you stretch out this farther, okay, you gave us evidence that this isn't just a possible phantom, but it actually is the phantom. Okay, so you drew that farther back. So where I said possible phantom, this has a now strong evidence that it is the phantom. Okay, that it is the phantom that we should be looking for. Okay, in addition to that, because you're drawing it as a possible mid phantom, sorry, this is a major mid phantom. So you draw it, you actually went one step ahead. So remember, we drew a possible phantom. This has evidence now that this is this is part of the larger story. So there was the smaller mid-phantom fan, then now a larger mid-phantom, and now the major mid-phantom that you have discovered. Okay, so all correct, which would make our possible target way up there, even higher off the map, which we'll find that price. Okay, the other thing we can do is once you find a major mid-phantom, I appreciate you looking at that. Once you find a major mid-phantom, what we can do is draw major step-ups. Okay, if you were labeling, if we could keep this permanent, we would flip back and forth. But right now, we're going to draw it as best we can. When we cross over, for people who are new, I normally don't do this by hand live, but when we cross over from one side to the other, and we cross over our mid-phantom, which we almost always denote by a dashed line, we draw step-ups at those locations. Okay, so we draw them in gray. Oops. And they would be about right here. All right, so the last step-up would have been in this location here, and therefore what is price telling us? What do you guys think? Anybody know?
Price is in held.
Yeah, that's right. It's not just on top of this smaller trend, but it cleared a major hurdle because price should have rejected at this. But we can actually see the exact opposite. Price is building on top of this old step up. The verification for the mid-phantom, that was old a possible phantom, now is a mid-phantom back here along that track in past price. And there's actually 3 verification points. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this is very important. Okay, now because of this, we can see that we would actually be looking at a possible target really high in the sky. Okay, now I can't put on our targeting system, so there's probably targets along the way, but we'll be looking at resistance really far, or very high potential. So longer term, this crypto looks very good in this sense. Let's draw that by taking a picture approximately where it would be at. Okay. Good catch, InvestBox. Very glad to see it. Okay. Okay, this would be about where we can do that. All right, let's see what we'd find. I think that's about enough view that I need. Okay, let's collect all of those energy centers. One, and then where's our mid-phantom? It was here and here. So therefore, our target might actually be somewhere close. If we go to today's date and go straight up in the air, we can see that we would be looking at a price of at least these numbers here. 0.000, higher than 50, be less than 60, since 65. So we're looking at 5.1, maybe 5.2, to somewhere in this area, possibly. If we hit before whatever date that is, we'll find out. We'll look in just a second. But somewhere around in the next months or so, this is a 12-hour chart. We should have had it on that daily chart, but we would be looking at there. Now, let me go back to see what date that is approximately. Hopefully it didn't change the logarithm. Yeah, okay. So we would be looking approximately maybe before March, April, May, somewhere around there at those prices. Otherwise, if it takes longer, it's going to be at a higher price. Okay, because this is at an upper angle. Okay, so that's the only things that I would be really concerned, I think, with this crypto. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything too pertinent. Oh, I didn't write down that price higher. Better. 0.00052 to, this is around 6.5. 0.00065. Current prices is 0.00013, and the lows down here are around 0.00050 to 60. 0.00005 0.00060. Okay, so that would be sickness down here. As it is right now, there's health. It's very possible we can experience a strong target at that area range. So if you guys are in this crypto, you're looking to get out at you're looking to get out at around 5.2 to 6.5. That's 3.0. So a lot of money that's still on the table for this crypto, and it is in health. It is not at a sword cut, which would be closer to down here. That would be where our sword cut is, but it is in health. Okay, it is still in health, and it's building right now on top of the step up in gray. Okay, now I got this information from Lisa, and Lisa sent me this regarding a few of these cryptos. I wanted to take time to actually look at this, and it says this. Look at these 13 coins that were just added to the ANA registry and assigned ISNs. HOT, HOLO, which we looked at, and then ARK, DIS, Rev, Waves, and SNX. So I want to try and look at a few of these cryptos. We may have to get back to some of them on Monday. Okay, let's look at ARK. Okay, crypto.com it is. I'm going to pull this on a monthly chart. Core should be a little bit higher. Core, and then we have another large round action here. We don't want to discount this. Let's give it a different color. Okay, and it's connected to these other areas here. Let's stretch it out. With these cryptos that are, I may not be able to trust this as a bottom because that's our opening, but it might be worth looking at something. But I know we can trust this area here as support. 1, 2, and then go up. 1, 2. So we want to use that area, at least for certain. And we may be able to just perform Tiger analysis on this. Let's perform it real quick. There it is. Okay, that's our Tiger calculation. Let's give this a different color. 1. Okay. 2. Today is not a tutorial on Tiger analysis. 3. Alright, those will be the supports based on these areas. And my verification that I should be using Tiger is this right here and here. Maybe those two spikes. 1 and 2. So that might be just confirmation that we're on the right track as far as investigating the strongest energies at work in this crypto. Alright. So according to this, I would be more apt to trade this along here and watch for prices to give me some kind of move up to there. Okay, that might be something I'm looking at. Let's go now back to the weekly chart and let's see what else we can extract from here, and then we'll go to the daily chart. All right, on the weekly chart we can see that there's been a smaller parabolic type of energy that was being built up in these areas here. This one's, it's messy, and look at all the spikes, and this is on a weekly chart. That's the clue that I use to look when I know I need to zoom out, even if that means zooming out to the monthly chart. This is a long game. Health appeared here, but we only went up to the resistance. But look carefully. We can see we did get up for a few weeks, just a few weeks, breaking that line, but still are having heavy resistance in these supply areas. Okay, so there's a lot of strength, and that needs to come in this crypto on the higher monthly chart. But is there money that's available? Is it worth it to us? If we got up from here to here, the move is only 100%, which is not so bad, but it's 100% up to that target. But to have to wait for the monthly chart to close above those areas may make it so that it's not something that is super viable. but as it is within this consolidating pattern. Let's give you some of those prices we might be looking for prices to act normally in between. That's going to be, the first one is $1.23. The next price down here is going to be somewhere around 0.026. Okay, so 0.26 and $1.23. That's the normal range that price can play around. Price can bounce and bounce and bounce and bounce and play along in that area. But as it is, we're in a type of consolidation that is what I call delay territory. It's just going sideways and wasting our money. But if we go to the bottom, we can look to go to some of these tiger targets, or if we break above, we can go to the top side. Speaking of targets, let's add targeting system to this one and see if there's anything worth drawing. Nothing. No volume data. Okay. Nothing for this one. All right. The last move that we have, let's look at it a little bit closer on the daily chart to see if there's anything worth micro trading. I don't really think there is. The last thing that really happened is from here to here, there should have been smaller sword cut weaknesses about this area, and there was. You can see price rounding up to the top side, giving us some problems right here. So yeah, I really wouldn't want to touch this one just yet unless you're buying it for prophetic reasons or for intel reasons. But as a crypto, it doesn't appear set up. The next trade should begin above 123. Okay, that would be our next attractive area. Okay, I'll put it like that so you guys can see what you'd be looking at. Okay, get built above there. Round structure would be better. I don't want to just be above here, because look what happened last time. We were just above there on the smaller charts, but not the monthly. So I'm primarily concerned with monthly, and let's move on. Next one, let's look at DIS. All right, the next one we're looking at is DISCHAIN. Let's read some of this energy. We've got some round action here, but look at the truth. It looks like it's parabolic. Verification for those last two places. We're going to draw parabolic along that track. Seems like over the past year, that was primary what was formed on a lot of cryptos. Almost every one of our charts has a parabolic like that. We're going to draw that sword cut out. In the sword cut area, it needs to be lower, approximately here. Okay. Hold on. Okay, so we're looking to get closer. It's probably a little bit more narrow than that. We're looking to get into this area, and it looks like we're making a nice round descent, which is beautiful. We should be probably coming a little bit lower on Bitmart for this. Okay. One moment. Yeah, this is about right. I think Tiger now. I'm not really going to do this right now, but I believe there's a type of tiger, mixed tiger in here, based on parabolic, and we would take that tiger and move it to the last energy centers in here. I would like to normally do that analysis, but it should give me a timing about right here anyway. Okay, but I'm not going to do that. It's a little bit advanced. I will draw our straights. Here's our straight descent. Let's give it a color. Let's just do white. Take that angle, put it on top of the energy center here with all the verifications in between, which might put a little support on this side as a smaller sword cut. That should slow things down a bit. It should be about right here. And that's correct as well. So this is going to be, let's fade this away. It is a type of sword cut, but I'm going to fade it away because the larger parabolic energy is stronger than this smaller energy here. Okay, if you look at them like a fish, that's one fish, and the other larger fish would be here. Okay, and that's how you can read those. You want which one's stronger? If you get this fish down here, it's stronger, but this smaller one does have an important role to play. I'll take a quick picture of that just for your reference. Okay, when reading energy, it's a simple way of finding out what's stronger. You do have to keep your eye on a lot of things, right? But if you look in terms of context, what's stronger, what's weaker? Let's fade this away as well. Okay. The other thing we're going to do is extend out the actual support. So we have a general idea where the backup support is. If the sword cut doesn't hold, we can go here. Otherwise, we're looking to round in this area or smaller around here. Okay, so those are the things we got so far. And we don't have so much data, so I really want to be careful. But one thing I do have is round action here. And I do like to connect my round action to my peaks. So we can draw an angle here, and therefore we would be looking for a trade to begin somewhere there. Let's draw that together right now. In fact, we'll borrow it and draw it in green. There's another straight. Oops. And I hope you guys are having a great morning. I'm having a fantastic morning. We just had a big move. And I look forward to getting settled. I am not settled. We have a lot of stuff. We just unloaded and put everything in the bathroom and put our furniture where furniture goes. And I had to make a way to the shower so I can take a shower. It was like an obstacle course, jumping over our things. I did get to bring my board game collection, add my storage. I did close up my storage. I was happy we left the city. All right, last thing, let's put on some targeting system on here. And this will be a good comprehensive map for when this crypto does come to help. No matter what style of trading you guys are using, I hope this does help. I love price maps because you can combine them with lots of different styles of trading. All right, I'm going to add on our targets. When this crypto does come into health, we would be looking target 1 here. And target 2, not much higher than that. Target 3 in those areas right there. All right, so let me extend those out, and I'll get you some prices for these bad boys. Melly doesn't like when I say bad boy. I said, yeah, let's fire up this bad boy. She says, don't say bad boy. And I said, it's an American expression. But she doesn't like when I say it. So I said, okay. 0.58. Who else says it? Who else says bad boy? I don't know if you guys do it in other countries, but yeah. Let's start up this bad boy. Or let's, I don't know why I say it. Maybe I got it when I was a little kid. We get a lot of things from our parents, but I don't remember my parents saying it. Maybe a teacher. 1.90 to 1.63, 0.9987, 0.85, and 0.58 to 73. We will be looking at those areas as our primary targets. And the money that's on the table from that second trade above here would be looking about 113%. Not bad, 113% on their money up to that first trade. Would be interesting. I wouldn't mind that trade, and I wouldn't mind that trade at all. Okay, but right now we're just not in that area. I think we're going to go down a little bit lower to make room for the larger chart. I think it's going to be a battle. I think it's been a battle at the smaller sword cut right here, and that's why we're fighting to stay alive. I think there's a lot of supply in here, but ultimately we're going to get down here. Just a little bit further is probably going to be the major trade. All right here. Yo, DISCHAINs. Don't be angry when I come running with a gold chain around my necklace. And I'll be like, hey, yo. My name is Jay Sung. So follow along. We're going to do these charts. We're going to have some farts. No, that's not a good rhyme. I don't know. We'll work on that as well. All right. Here's my last Ether chart. Ether, I have a longer term uptrend shown in blue. All right, longer term uptrend with our phantom being up here and verification in the past. You can also draw it from here, and it's going to give you that same foundational area. But if you just wanted to draw it here, it is the same angle. Okay. In the smaller term, we have smaller energy centers here and up here. This is our foundational line, but this one right here being verification. So we can also draw this as if it looked like, oops, hold on. as if it looked like that would be just as fine. That's where we should have bounced on. Currently, we're trading up here at around $2,495. And what we're looking at is there's a smaller term uptrend within the larger uptrend. So that's healthy, okay? We also saw a larger down move in that health began based on these round actions here. We can see that the health entered here. So in these prices is when it was time to hold on to Ether. Okay, that's when it's time to actually accumulate and hold on to Ether when we're here. And we did. Now we're along that path. Along that path we had, we had some smaller step ups. This is actually should be a little bit higher. A step up around here. This should be gray. Who did this? Who did this? There should have been support along this path in this upper, and they form a vortex. They come together. The step up meets together with this trend, and that makes it stronger. Some more support. Okay. The smaller short-term watch line, which was along this path, which I drew with my finger, or highlighting that, you can see that the next health would have entered here. Okay, so health in this season. And then health in the smaller term area here in the last few weeks. That was from, last few months, October 23rd. This is a weekly chart. Okay. But I believe we have to look at the larger story. A lot of people want to look at crypto real close, but you have to look at the larger story. Once you look at the larger story, the rest of the story makes sense and context. Okay. Because you don't get whipsawed by major moves. Okay. But within there, we are looking at a target now along the upper track. So the prices for selling Ether, we're looking around $3,285 in these weeks. Okay. Now we had a prophetic word from Ian, which coincided with our target system as well, around the low side of 2,892. So what this means is when we put on our target system in these areas, we could see there's two targets, target 1 and target 2. Let's now update these targets with, instead of putting all these price labels on it, I'm actually going to put in the actual text. So if you click on target 1 and draw a rectangle, I'll give you my target and you can put these along yours. In the text box, by clicking on the settings of that bar, click on your box, click on the little sprocket there, and then you can go to the text. I put target 1, and it's going to show up on the side two little numbers for that rectangle. Mine's was these two numbers, 3,099 and 2,882. So we're going to put just that, 2,882 to 3,099. So about $3,100. Okay. We can put it black, and we can put it bold, and we can put it in the inside. And now it's there. Let's do it for the second one, target 2. It has a low side of 3,532 to 3,705. And you can also now create your numbers to match these as well. We're going to make it black. We're going to make it bold. We're going to make it on the inside. Click OK. Visual order, bring to front, pull those in front. And there it is. So now you guys have those targets of what we're looking for. So I am still bullish these. Now what about this orange line here? What is that? What's that all about? That is a sword cut, okay? And that sword is based on smaller energy up here. So that sword cut is only as big as this small energy up here. That's where the sword cut should be, right here. Which means we should have some resistance, some supply. Prices should slow down in this area, and it did slow down, and it has been slowing down. But what about the target? The reason I leave both of these on is because in my experience, even though there's a sword cut and prices may slow down, that's why we saw prices spike up to the high side of 27.90. We didn't fully go down, did we? No, we only went down just a little bit, down to 2,200, and came right back up to that area. What I think is this is going to help try to press prices down, but price is going to spike really close. So when you see targets that overlap sword cuts, or they're just far away, look for it to hit on the side of the target rather than the sword cut. And this means it may be just a short, quick up move. What I would do in this case is I would have, if I had Ether, I would want to have sell orders at these prices. So if you have Ether, you may want to put some sell orders on the low side of 28.88. Okay, so 28.82. Have some sell orders. Current price is 24.94. So you still got about a little over $400 left or so. But that's how I would navigate that one. Okay, I would put sell orders because you're most likely just going to spike in that area, and the sword cut may help hold things down for a while or bring it back down to the support. Okay, we may come down to the low side. Now this blue right here is an essence of this round action. Okay, this blue is a flat. Even though we stuck up a little bit here, the essence is here, and when I draw blue lines, they're generally flats. Okay, so that's probably what I was trying to do last time when I drew the step up. This will be about right here. Okay. But this is a flat, and we can label that because we're labeling everything in this new system. We're labeling it as HLC, high level core, flat, and then you can put round action. And what that means is that on the higher time frames, there's round action, but there's also a flat line we need to draw at those cores, the cores of where the top is, not just the little spikes, but the cores. If I pull up on a monthly chart, it may make a little more sense. Okay, do you see the monthly chart? That this little break up on that day was just a spike, but the actual candles were round here. See where my mouse is going? That is just the round essence. So if we do go back down, we may find support around that level. And what level is that? We're going to write down the target, 2017 to 1952. And it's hard to see, so let's make it black. And let's put it on the inside. And let's make it bold. And there it is. See? Monthly chart. And I'll just highlight that monthly so you guys can see it says M. And I'll put monthly. And I'll put the arrow right there. That blue line. And have any questions about Ethereum before we move on? Okay. That's my price map for reading the energy on Ethereum. Go ahead and unmute. Royal says he called his dog bad boy. That's not what I meant, Royal. Thank you, Sharon. You love the rap. Good. You can be one of the background singers or rappers when I make my music album. If I say this, if that one guy could do it recently, what is his name? Ben Shapiro. If Ben Shapiro can become the #1 rapper in the world and have the #1 song, then so can I. Right? Okay, let's move on. AVAX. Let's see, we're last looking. Update, major price hit the 28 target easily. We're currently at the next resistance area shown at the top blue line near 45. This is a phantom line. If price can clear 45 on the 12-hour, then we should see 67 soon. If not, if price is not able to hold above the blue line, this would phase through as weakness, and we would probably hit the 26 area because we did not properly hit this area. And the 26 is part of the major story on the weekly chart. Okay, so let's take a look at what we're talking about here. So let's go to the daily chart. What we were looking at is we were not at a buy area. We would have to have cleared this top area here for us to be able to hit to a buy, and we didn't. Okay, did not. That was 45, and it just turned out that we were still hitting the top side, so we went down. But when we went down, we actually phased through. Okay, so phasing through is where we go through the next support. So this was the phantom. This is where resistance should have been. It's where resistance was. Then the support could have been here, but when we went through here and we phased, that's a sign of weakness. So that means that weakness entered prices. Okay, so when we went through this blue line, that was a sign of weakness. We should be going down. Now here's the crazy thing. We didn't get all the way down. Actually, we got pretty close to 26. We got 27.25 as the low. 27.25, pretty darn close for a margin of error, but we were expecting to go down, and we're there. Now we could still go down. We need to take a look at this a little bit further. All right. So we were looking to go down there. We still are looking at resistance at 67.30. These now just get moved to the right on the map, okay? And the other thing we're looking for is we're looking to try to build now along this top area. Now, why is that important? Because it's part of the weekly story. So let's go to the weekly story, and I'm going to share you a little bit more. There's a foundational area in yellow here, okay, in the story of the flow of prices going along, doing its thing and everything like that. But in this downtrend, there was two major areas we need to mark, and they're here and here. Now, I already marked them for you on my chart, and they're in yellow, okay? But that's part of the major story. So if we draw a trend line connecting those cores and being as accurate as we can, should be actually just a hair higher, just a little bit higher, just a hair, and that will make a big difference in the future. And that's probably why we didn't hit exactly that support. But let me move it just a hair. Yep, there we go. Okay, so you guys see that? That's about how you should draw it. Let me fix the top one just a little bit. All right, we're looking about right there. Okay. Now, when we, yeah, that's more, look at that. That's more correct. That's more correct. See, always give a margin of error in case your hand is off or my hand is off, but try to get to the general area. But look at that. It's pretty good, right? Pretty accurate. Okay, now, what are we looking at? We are looking at bullishness. Why? Because we cleared the foundational area. All right? Because prices cleared the foundational area, we are now looking to go up if we can build in there. And what is the type of up energy we're looking at? I'm going to delete this right now. The type of up energy we're looking is round structure. Okay, we're looking at round structure on top. This is the symbol that we used to draw for you guys, right? Every class. This is the same symbol that is playing out right now. You guys see that? Does everybody understand that? So, AVAX should be bullish now that we've came down and touched the bottom. Does everybody understand that? You should be bullish once we start rounding on these areas. We're only spiking, and that's even actually more bullish. It's a sign that there's a lot of supply and buyers at this area. This is the natural area where there should be next buyers along this track, that foundational track. That's clear to go. Okay. Wow. Lots of volume, and it wasn't selling, it was pushing volume to get us through. Look at the volume in these areas. These are the candles, these are the volumes. Pushing volume to push us through that resistance so that we didn't reject. But this is a sign of health. The volume can let up once we're on the underside because that means there's no more supply. So they'll buy up all the supply and price is okay to continue to the next high. But this is what this is, pushing volume. And price is pushing us past the major resistance. So that's really good. That's really good. That's what's needed to get us to the other side and to help continue. So now that the push has been completed, they're going to dry up the supply that's on the underside, and we should be able to continue up. We will look at this time where we should be going. We should be going up to the sword cut area of $67. Current prices are $39. The prices for the low was $26. So that's about where we should be looking to have bought. We still may go there again, but for the most part, that's where we're at. You can draw a smaller sword cut based on here, and we will draw that right now, and we'll just label it right about here in orange, and we'll give it the label foundational SC or sword cut. And let's put the price for you watching at home, 30.28 to 28.53 area. I wish I could flip this on that side. Okay, now what's the next thing for AVAX? I like AVAX. Okay, let's throw on RSI and take a look at what we're seeing. I'm using a new modified RSI. It's an experiment. I'm using it because I think it's just a lot easier to read this version of RSI called Quantra AI. Weekly, let me go to the daily chart. Okay, I don't see any major move on the RSI right now for what I'm looking for on it. Let's now look at some of this energy here. We can see a few energy centers in a smaller sword cut here, so prices should be bouncing. This is a 12-hour chart. I think that's all we're gonna talk about today for AVAX. I would feel comfortable being in this crypto up to 67. The money that's on the table is 85%. Nice. Nice. Okay. We would be looking about, for some of those low prices, that much. If you're buying right now, you're looking only around 60% for the low side, 62. Okay, but in the price areas where we should be in health is these areas for the smaller 12-hour chart. Since we already hit the sword cut, we don't need to come back down, so it may just take off already without us, and that's okay. And that's okay. I don't have any signal for RSI as far when I'm looking at RSI, but as far as the chart goes, we came to the foundational area, and I think we're probably going to make our move up to that 67 area. Let's throw on target system, and I think that's all we'll do. Wonderful. Target number 2, and that's it. All right, 2 targets have been identified. One which appears to have already been hit. Yeah, I would say it may have been hit on the low side, so there may be still some problems we're going to encounter before we get to there. And then there's one on the high side. Let's get you these prices. Oh yeah, you know what? RSI is bullish. Never mind. No, I'm not speaking in tongues. Yes, I can speak in tongues. Yes, we do pray in tongues. We are coming up from using RSI location. We are in a bullish territory. So this is bullish. Yes. Yes. We are bullish. Using our RSI location on the daily chart. Nice. Okay, I'd feel more comfortable getting AVAX. Alright, so I would get some AVAX. This is never financial investment or trading advice of any kind. I would feel comfortable getting some AVAX and at least trading up to the target up here at 50. Let's trade it up to 50 and 57.49. I might risk it for the biscuit and trade it on the high side since we're so close to the sword cut. Most likely we're going to get to that sword cut. Somewhere within that range is what we're looking at, and that's going to be target number 1. Some people don't shop at Target. I don't blame you. They support a strange agenda. I can understand what people are. They're like, does he change subjects really quickly? And the answer is yes. Yes, I do. Speaking of which, it's my birthday coming up later this year. I once said that, and my brother once told that to me. He said, speaking of birthdays, I said, who's speaking of birthdays? He goes, no one, but now that you mention it, mine's just coming up. Target number 2. Do you have to be sharp-witted to watch our show? No, you can be dull as a tack. But it's funner if you can keep up. All right, any questions about AVAX?
Is funner a word, Jay?
Funner is not a word, but I have petitioned for funnerer to be, because I think funnerer is more funner than a word than funner. Okay. Thank you very much. We get a lot of, as you guys can see, if you're watching the show, we do get a lot of feedback from the peanut gallery. Some of you whippersnappers are too young to know what that means, and that's okay. All right. Nobody, no questions about AVAX? No questions about Ethereum? No questions about AVAX? No, I didn't say Ajax. No, I don't know how to clean your toilet. I'm sorry. All right, let's look at ENJ. Who thinks funner should be a word? Is funner a word? Is it a word? Can somebody find that for me? Google it real quick. Somebody Google.
No,
It's
it is
not.
more fun, not funner.
But funner sounds so much more funner to say.
You crack me up,
Speaking of which, I'm
as
hungry.
usual.
Yeah, you make me hungry for eggs. Okay. This is... See, who... Do you guys know that some of the most brilliant minds are a little eccentric? When people call me crazy, I just say, maybe I'm a little eccentric. But all the most brilliant minds are. You have to be, because you go crazy just being analytical all the time. You cannot stay sane and do it, because you just get bored. I get bored with charts. But when I'm having more fun, Michelle.
There you go.
Yeah, when I'm having more fun, I can endure long, and then I can concentrate.
In certain parts of England, we use the word funner, I think.
Thank you, thank
that-
you. Or it's easy England, I should say thank you, thank you.
Perhaps more so in the less educated areas, but yeah.
Oh, now, why didn't you lead with that, Ian? Why didn't you lead with that? Why did you got to set me up for failure?
I'm just joking, sorry.
He set me up. He knew I was going to fall for that joke. No, it's okay to be a little eccentric. I heard people say that they get upset when they hear people say espresso. What's wrong with saying espresso? I know it's pronounced espresso, but some of us are not so refined. And some of us didn't come from areas where we drank Nespresso with our pinky sticking out. We had to learn. It's an acquired taste. Like espresso. But I like it. Look at this, the hidden battler here. This is how you trade it. If price ever comes down here, you watch that low. It's a hidden battler. And I'm having my coffee jitters because I can't get to my espresso machine. I can't get to it because it's in the storage. We just got out of the move yesterday. We were like tired. I'm like, I'm going to sleep. And it's got to be like 11 p.m. Melody's, no, it's only 7:30. I'm like, what? I'm tired.
It's when you go to 7-Eleven and buy you a cup of coffee.
I don't know where one's out here in this new city.
Really?
Yeah.
They're on every corner here in my area.
In other countries, there's a lot of 7-Elevens. Certain countries, there's a lot of them. I was surprised. This is going to be HB2. And just keep an eye on that area. HB2. You're going to want to watch out for that. Okay. And that's just going to be the core of that area here.
Why is it a 2? HB.
There's actually an HB1 that would be closer to here on higher. But the reason I didn't... You could draw it. But the reason I'm not drawing is because the higher level core is down here anyway. You could alternately write HB2 / HLC, round action. So it'll probably be much more of an attractive target. But there's technically one here if you want to draw it as well. Which we'll do today. And that would be HB number 1. But I don't want to draw too much attention to it. I don't think it's going to be that stronger. 0.063. Okay, now let's go back to the chart. Right now, there is a stronger energy that's been set up since November of 2019, all the way to the weakness appeared in October of 2022. And you can see that we came up with a small funny shape. That's more of a peak shape. And then we rounded in that area. After the peak, we rounded underneath sword cut and came down. We challenged it again on the low side, but just barely spiking getting to it. But this whole territory is weakness at the moment in that area. We do need a new setup. It's not the end of the world. These can get minimized. They don't have to be so strong. These in the back. But the strongest one that you need to pay attention to was this one in green. Okay. We can also stretch that out so that this might act like a resistance in the future. It's possible. Okay.
Wouldn't you draw another line at the bottom? Connecting that or to the bottom.
You want to draw it? What do you?
Maybe this is just me learning. Not sure if it's valid or not. But let's see.
You could draw.
Oh, I went through that.
Even still, you can do that. Let me go to the monthly chart so you can draw that line. But we're gonna talk about that, okay? So you drew basically something like that, but yours, you would need to adjust your line. Try to adjust it, and I'll tell you why we wouldn't.
I'll erase it and do it again.
And you may not be able to see online what she's drawing, so we may have to edit this out. But Royal says he likes espresso. I have a Mespresso machine. I have an espresso machine, and I haven't got it plugged in. So again, that's I am having my.
Move it down some. Oops.
All right. Does anybody know why we may not want to draw that particular line? Let's break it down. On this side, would we want to draw the line on the left side as a starting point? The answer is yes, we would. We can see a large energy that went up. Now, what about this next one? So this is what I want to ask you. Would we want to draw one from here? Yes or no, and why not?
It should be to the other core, right?
Yeah, I think the reason why is because it's not where it first changed price behavior. There.
Sure, that could be one. We can use this point. It has a larger up move. The reason we can use these points is that they are straights. The answer is you can use these, but they're very small energy, and we can use them to read what's happening. So let me break it down in a few points. Okay, so I'm gonna erase your guys' lines, and we're gonna recreate that.
And I do have a comment about that chart.
Okay, you want to say it now?
Yeah. In the very beginning, those first few red candles, and then it popped back up. Somewhere right about where whoever put that blue line, I think is where it really should be. I think on the spot where that blue line was, I can't annotate right now, but I think that's the candle where you should start. And because you would use like the very beginning of the coin to launch as a hidden battler, if you will. You would use that low point as a hidden battler, if you will. And where it started coming up, that's where it stabilized. You follow me?
Here? There, Mark?
Yeah. That's the way that I would present it. Or even at the top of the first, so there'd be the first, second, third, fourth white candle I see after the launch.
Yeah.
At the top of that. The third white candle.
This one right.
Maybe use the top of
that one?
This one?
Yeah, no. Drop down 2 white candles. Where that yellow?
This one.
Oh, wait a second. It'd be like the third white candle coming up. Yeah, right there. Yep.
Okay. All right, let's get back to recording. Here we go. So what we're looking to do here is we are looking at these swings for the strongest energy. Up until that, you can use other tools within the toolkit, so to speak, such as the straights. Now, when I'm drawing parabolics in a line that goes down like this and price is bouncing up, you can draw straights, and you're going to get a series of straights. 1, 2, 3, 4, and eventually you'll have all these hells. I call these accelerated adjustment lines, or AAL, and they're talked about, I believe, in lesson 4 or lesson 5 of sword method, lessons 1 through 10. Okay, you can use straights only, and that's exactly how I started, but a lot of times you can just group them into a series of energy that's just very easy to read based on a larger parabolic. Okay, so we use those a lot. But what about in real life? In real time, many times you have to only use the straights, because the straights are what's forming, and they give us the biggest clue of the energy. Now, The reason I may not want to use this one as the strongest energy is because it's a very small move up. It's a very small move up in proportion to the larger move up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Proportionately, there's a lot of moves. This is a very small move. And also this one back here was really small. Okay, the starting point, like what they were mentioning, could be you want to use this monthly chart and get some of the lowest cores you can in this area, and that will help you get the exact answer. So for this one, it might be approximately here, and this should be lower right here. That's actually more the correct answer on the monthly chart. We do have to adjust it, so it's probably somewhere around here, as close as you can to these angles. All right, this is going to affect this angle, so let's move that off to the side, and we can just borrow those and just adjust the angle. Oops. And then go back. Okay. All right. But our step up is still in about approximately the same area, so not much big of a change. The next thing I want you guys to hear is to know is if you were trying to read weaknesses in real time, don't take your eye off the top, but you can do those straights. So in this case, we can draw more straights using that same starting location, and we're going to draw them like this. One to be here, and we're going to give this a different color, and we will label it AAL. Okay, I'm going to do these in dots. AAL number 1, and let's put this in the middle, in the center, on the bottom. Sorry, yeah, right there. And then there's another one from that same origin, AAL number 2. Okay. Now, do we have verification that AAL number 1 has been hit, so that we should be paying attention to AAL number 2? We don't want to focus on AAL number 2 if AAL number 1 has not been hit.
There's round action.
Yeah. What are the clues for any of these AALs? The answers are as follows. Number 1, when we connected it here, we can see that price broke to the downside and came up to the top of that AAL1. Yep, so this is AAL1, and we rounded on the underside, and now we should be going down. And we have, okay, we have here on December 1st and January 24th month. This is a monthly chart. Because it gave us confirmation that AAL number 1 was there, we have a higher degree of certainty that if AAL number 2 is broken, and we phase through, then we would be looking to go down. That would be a sign of weakness and sickness. Okay, this would be a sign of sickness if we go into this territory. The other clue, does anybody know where the other clue might be found? And this is, I'll give you guys about a minute to answer the question. Does anybody have another clue of why AAL number 2 might be confirmed? Maybe that's a trick question. Maybe why would AAL number 1 be confirmed? Why would it be important? Why would we look at that area? Any confirmation? Think about the example I gave you in the first.
I don't remember that. I stepped away, but could it be because it's round action on the top and round action on the bottom?
We wouldn't know in advance if AL number 2 there's round action on the bottom of round L number 2, but I would say, what do you mean by round action on the top?
On the top, you see that white candle, it went up.
Okay.
Right? And all those red candles came back down and hit.
Are you talking about right here? Right here?
Let me annotate. Right there.
Okay.
I'll erase it. But that's support.
Okay.
It's support on, I guess, I don't know.
Okay. So this is our first verification. The other verification is actually here along this first one. Okay. Do you see this first foundational area? That first foundational area price going down and coming back up told us there was weakness entering. So really, if I was labeling it correctly, the foundational area is a type of AAL as well. Number one, really should be number one, and then this might be number two, and that would be number three. But they're all accelerated adjustments. Now, I start labeling AAL after the foundational one. But the very fact...
If it's a key angle, you
Yeah.
would still consider it.
Yeah, because it's just that it's all has the same origin point.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, and it's the same exact thing. We stopped on the top side, went down, then we went below, and then we took that second point, and then we went down right here, and then we went down. So now we have two reasons on why we might be expecting this lower support to break, and if it does, we can short this, or it should be going down. Okay, so that might be something worth drawing. Foundational. Okay, so we're going to draw a foundational area up here, but I would say watch out for weakness on INJ, and the price to watch now that we drew this is here. We got 0.2497. 0.2497. I would be looking. How about horizontal support line from the previous high? I wouldn't draw it horizontally because even on the monthly, it's at an angle. So it wouldn't be flat. I wouldn't suspect. You can draw it like that and it would be up here, but in my experience, the flat, when there's foundational angles, it's probably going to be more stronger. The flats are not. It's something I pay attention to. And you also see that when we did a class regarding the flats family, only high-level cores, of all the tools, the weakest ones are high-level flats. There has to be some kind of verification or in the past, and it makes them stronger.
How about horizontal line at 2021? There is a high between 2021 before previous high.
The April of 2021? April month?
I think before to that.
Okay.
Before to that, there is a previous high.
Oh, this high right here? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, that'd be good.
Horizontal line plan.
Yeah, you can draw. There's a definite flat there. You can see it. It lasted several months, and look in the past here. If you draw, that might be right there, support. And that's probably why we already found support. How much energy is left in that support? That's to be seen. Look. We already hit it once, we barely went up. We hit it twice, we barely hit, and the underside of this AAL, and we're going down. So that could be another clue. That could be a thing to fool some traders. If they're buying here, they're like, "Ooh, it's a low," but if the top responds like that and they reject, they're just gonna buy more here, and then it's gonna go against them, and it's gonna go down. So that might be something to watch as a support. Yeah, that's a good catch. I don't know. This is just my opinion, but I would say that's probably going to be a false bottom because the energy is depleting from it. Let's see on the volume, see if there was some accumulation here at those points. See if I can see anything. I don't want to see distribution. I see distribution. I see distribution. Look at this. On this up candle, we have very strong volume spikes, but nothing to show for it. If it was really buying, then how come we didn't continue going up? No, we just rejected. The buying isn't done on white bars. It's done on down bars. And that's the biggest part of VSA that a lot of people miss. Don't believe me? Take the courses of Trade Guider. They teach about volume spread analysis. But check this out. Here's the next one. The next appeared accumulation right here on these bars here. High up bar, but then the next bar is immediately down. But this time on down, the confirmation is that we went down also on high volume. So this is basically railroad tracks at a resistance. That's a sign to going down. And this is a monthly chart. So over the next few months, we should be seeing this one go down. So ENJ, this is a good case study for us. Distribution, nothing to show for it. This time, railroad tracks. That's actually selling. I would say we're going down. And I don't know if this support with this volume is enough to do it. The last time we had ultra high volume, nothing to show for it. I believe that was the selling. Okay, I believe that was the selling. Okay, and now smaller selling here and here. I think you're going down. Okay.
But if we enter a bull market, this should change, right?
Yeah, but it should change in the structure too. But this is on a monthly chart, so they don't happen overnight. Yeah. So I would be wary of drawing support along these just right now. It may be that we have, and I'll draw this here for you. It may be that there is a support along this track, but we would still need to be, cutting through a lot of candles to do that. We would need to be on these higher side of these prices up near 35 cents, yeah. And then ENJ can do something. Okay, maybe it can get us set up there. And we already hit this one along this track, so it may have a chance to do something bullish. But that sword cut's going to be in the way. And then, yeah. Let me pull up target to see if there's any targets on the low side. No, only high side targets that I have for you.
What if you did it on a smaller time frame? Would it be different?
Probably,
Targeting?
maybe. Let's go down to a daily. Yeah, sweetie. Okay, no worries. Okay. Nothing yet. Yeah, it's the same story.
Yeah, it looks the same.
Same story. There is a target to the top side. If there's health on this, I would look for a trade between here and here, exactly where I drew it. But as it is, in fact, I won't make that white. I'll make that white. Target between 84 cents and $1.03. 84 to 1.03. All right. Target number 1. All right, so not bullish this crypto. I'm actually bearish this crypto, and I'm not going to wait to the old flat to do it. I believe we've done enough investigating where we can be more certain that we'll be looking to go down. Okay, at 24 cents. If we're building below that, we're going down. Otherwise, we still have hope. Still have hope. Okay, donut short this. Eat a donut instead. Not until you clear 24. Okay. All right. We're over time today. We will recap what we've learned. So on Monday, we're going to be covering REV, Waves, SNX, Exava, and Luna Classic. And we'll be looking at those on Monday, and I look forward to doing those with you. Let's now go over our photos and cover what we learned. But first, let's play that theme music that we always play. We never play it. It's the first time. Let's look back to what we learned. Let's go back in time. Let's go back to what we found. Let's all sing a rhyme. Yeah, here it is. We looked at Mover. We found that Mover was moving a little bit down. We're looking to clear this area to get into Mover, what we spoke about at the beginning today. We also found that Mover needs to clear 0.035 area before we're looking bullish again. We're sitting on some step ups at 26 cents. By the way, I did a recap for these at the beginning of this episode. CHR, we have had some health coming in CHR, but this week we're starting to push above our last step up. CHR had some distribution in it, but some health coming back in. We are still in an uptrend on CHR. We're in a period of health, but this candle cannot be trusted. We got 1 day and 1 hour left to go. In addition, that candle's sitting at a target of 26. It's sitting at a target of 26 cents and 32, which means we should be getting rejection here anyway. So please be careful being in CHR. You may want to take some profit this week or wait till we build up above this area, and then you can take CHR to the next trade, which we're looking to trade it to $1.08 and $1.02, somewhere around there. 225% in that area. That'd be good money on the table if we can get it. We're still in the uptrend, so that would be nice. Sickness would happen when we go underneath that green area. If it was today, we're looking at prices closer to around 0.093 cents, somewhere around 11 cents. Sorry, 11 cents. We would be seeing weaknesses coming in. I feel like a weatherman. Am I a weatherman? The forecast for the cryptos today. When we looked at HOT, we were able to identify on the higher time frames. On this is a weekly chart, but we also looked at on a monthly chart where we identified a strong up angle with hidden ballers down here at 0048 and 0029. So if we do go below that, we have some backups around those prices, so you wouldn't look to buy it again until we're at HB1 or HB2, with HB number 1 being probably the more attractive of the options, as it's a higher level core. Okay, and then if you go below HB1, trade it down to HB2, easy money. We're looking to be in its uptrend for HOT. I am bullish on HOT. We do have a foundational area on the monthly chart, which is going at a down angle. The problem is it's in the sky, so we're not in the full areas where we have a chance to go up to these targets way up here at 0.06 cents, but it is bullish. We're still in this uptrend, and let's take a look at what's going on now. In the smaller time frames on HOT, on the weekly charts, we have cleared a yellow parabolic and we're sitting on top of a sword cut, or we're about to sit on a sword cut. We seem to be descending nicely, rounding on top of that area. I am bullish HOT because of this, but on the smaller time frames, there's smaller interim support. On the daily chart, we can see a smaller, shorter parabolic with prices sitting up there. So if price is really bullish, we may just go up now. Otherwise, I think we're actually going to come down a little bit lower to the lower side of 0014 areas, okay, 75 and 0004. So I'm actually looking for HOT to come down a little bit. I would like it to come down a little bit to get those better prices, but at the moment it is sitting on its target and just broke above the yellow parabolic, or is breaking above this parabolic in teal color. So that is another sign of health, but as it is, it's possible price will go down just a little bit more, but there's no signs that it's going to. Okay, so as some of you may see this trade take off, it may go up to the 00020 and then come back down. Okay, that's what I think is going to happen. In addition to that, we are at an RSI buy location, so there's reasons for it to be bullish, because using our RSI location indicator, okay, we are looking to move up. Okay, that's how I trade it. The percentage, 35% on the table for HOT. Oh, by the way, I'm deciding to grow my beard out a little bit more. I'm in a competition with Prophet Robin on who can have the longer beard. So by tomorrow at 5 p.m., I should be the winner. Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking about my chest hair. I'm sorry. Don't talk about my growth with my beard. It's much slower than my chest. Anyway, we are looking at, this is another chart of HOT. We did place a target on HOT. It is around that monthly chart level. So if we are able to clear that 026 area, which would be the prices for that, we could find ourselves going to 005 areas, which would be great. Okay, 0053 to 68. So some people are going to hold out for the longer term trade. That's the major trade. I still think we're going down to sword cut, and then we can go up to the major trade. That's what I think. We looked at a crypto called WPLS, which was Pulse Chain. Yeah, Pulse Chain. And in Pulse Chain, we had to draw manually. We were able to find that we are in an uptrend, but it's part of a larger story with the major mid phantom. Thank you very much to our friend InvestBox. Thank you. Shout out to InvestBox. We're in this upper chain, and that means that our target would be higher off the map if we were to fully go up. Using our step ups feature, we were able to see that price is actually building health on top of these step ups. In addition to that, it's building on top of an older phantom, which is great. Okay, this older phantom here in green, that we're just bouncing along. So all that's very bullish. So I am bullish on Pulse Chain. You can get it on the Pulse Chain, the Pulse network. Okay, we did find also using RSI location that should be bullish recently, and it was recently bullish. So we're glad for that. But we're also looking to see another sign of health along connecting those round actions together, and those prices to be closer to 0.00016. Okay, get me above 0.0016, that might be the trigger for the next trade, and we could be bullish much, much higher. Okay, the targets we can be getting to is 0.0052. This is that target that I showed you that was off the map on the first one, but here's the second one, and this is how you can draw it. Okay, these will all be uploaded on our website, www.patreon.com/jason_7. Okay, here we go. 0.0052 to 0.0065. All right, there it is. Wrapped pulse. This is measured in DIA. The next crypto we looked at was ARK. We looked at ARK, and after we were looking in the ARK, we did smell that Noah did not clean out the stables after releasing the animals. Then we are looking for prices to bounce and play around this area. In addition to that, we did place our Tiger calculations on here, and we placed all of our Tiger lines on here. You can draw your Tiger lines just like this, and we should have a higher degree of certainty of where we're looking for rejections or bullishness. We did have small Tiger verification, not large verification or major verification, but some, which means the first trades would be looking at around 100% if we can clear around 125. $1.25, build upon that old blue line, get us there to the Tiger. It's 125% on your money. I'd be very interested in getting some ARK, but right now, no, I don't want to get on the ARK just yet. There's no point in sitting on the boat. It hasn't started to rain. Now, it would look something like this. Oops. Okay, there it is. When we looked at DISCHAIN right here, DISCHAIN, he is the younger brother of 2Chain. Okay, we can see that there is a downward energy with a strong sword cut, and we can see that sword cut should be giving us some support. There was a smaller sword cut, even smaller, which is around this top orange line, and that's where price stopped. It was enough to stop price and even hold up price just a little bit, but ultimately I think the energy that is all just supply, and that energy is going to be absorbed, and then price is going to spike and come down to the lower sword cut on DISCHAIN. Now those prices for those areas are closer. Let me see, what did I put a price for this? Yeah, that's going to be closer to around 12 to 13 cents. So we're going to be looking around 12 to 13 cents for DISCHAIN to come down just a little bit further. I'm not saying it's not going to do good. It may do very good, but I'm looking for it primarily to go do good after we break above this line right here. Okay, and this line does have some type of verification. If we connect this line from here to here in the cores, and we place them here at the energy center, we can see that price is still building along that angle. So this is the phantom down here, and therefore this reinforces the fact that this is the angle you should be paying attention to. So build me up us here on the weekly charts, and then we can start talking about our future together and go up higher. The first target is around 113%. 113%. It looks like it's around 31 cents for the low side to 72 cents on the high side, and after that 99 to 85, and then $1 to $1.63. Those are the three targets that are available for DISCHAIN. Oh, I'm sorry, those are not the right price. 58 to 72. 58 to 72 for target number one. Okay, with 113%. Not bad, 113%. That is for DISCHAIN, and that's measured in tethered dollars. The next crypto we're looking at is Ether. We talked about Ether being bullish. We had Ether sitting underneath a sword cut from 25 to 27, and we had read a lot of the energy on Ether. Okay, now here, this one. Okay, what I see is that we're most likely going to break and hit. Oh, let me see what we put on here. Most likely, we're going to be focusing on a few areas. If we're buying, it's dangerous to buy just right now, although it is bullish. There is a monthly flat. If you look at the monthly chart, you're going to be drawing it just a little bit lower than I did mine, right on top of that white and red candle right there. Okay, and I put that in monthly so you guys know that that's on a monthly chart. The prices are closer to 2017 and 1,952. We are looking at prices still being bullish on the daily chart, and we're looking to hit our target of target number one, 2,882 and 3,099. Also overlaps an older prophetic word that our friend Ian had. Okay, we're looking to take out those targets. We're still in a strong uptrend. By the way, I didn't draw this, but there's a yellow parabolic that you can draw to the underside of here. If you're looking for the next low, you may want to draw that underside target and be looking to take prices here, which would be around 2,491. Okay, but overall we're still bullish Ethereum, and I think Ethereum's gonna hold well. Finally, the last couple things for AVAX. I like AVAX. AVAX has a foundational area strong here on the weekly chart going down. We are sitting on top of that foundational area, okay, in red. See, we're sitting on top of it, and we're rounding at a sword cut, which is closer to $30 and $28. Somewhere around that range is where we're looking to round, and I like this because it's probably one of the strongest of all of them. We're looking to move up to the older sword cut at $67. So money from $39 to $67. I would like it. I would like it. That money that's on the table right now. Let's see, AVAX. Yes. On the smaller 12-hour chart, we can also see a parabolic on the downside with health coming in right now, and AVAX still in this uptrend, with AVAX having the move up to that $67 price range with 62% on the table. 62% on the table. I like it. Again, prices right now, the filming of this video is $39. Okay, it is at an RSI location buy point. So the indicator is saying, hey, we should be going up in these areas. And so far we have been going up in these areas. So that's really good using our ISI location indicator. Okay, I'm bullish. When we did put on smaller targets, we did see a problem. We saw a target that's a little bit slower than the sword cut, and a target that's just a little bit higher than that sword cut, which means we may slow down around 51 to 57. I don't know if it's going to be enough to knock us down, but we may be able to hit that sword cut. I would probably risk it for the biscuit, since the sword cut is smack dab in the middle of these two targets. If you're on the conservative side, you want to just take a profit at $50.91. Okay, which is just almost the old high. So someone could say, we already hit this old high, so therefore, are we going to hit it again? Most likely that's the target. If you look at right here, we technically hit it. Should you be so scared of target 1? Probably not. It knocked it down already. Maybe risk it for target 2 or risk it for sword cut. Okay? Yeah, what will you do? It's up to you, but I like it and I think it's good. Okay, NJ, we saw weaknesses, several weaknesses up here. We saw 2 accelerated adjustment lines that we covered during our accelerated adjustment tutorial during today's filming. Okay, we saw, I need to take better pictures. Okay, we saw our support. Let me see. We saw our support here, and we saw our first accelerated adjustment line here. Our AAL number to our accelerated adjustment line to the downside is right here on October 23rd on the monthly chart. October of 2023. Sorry, October 23 on the monthly chart. And as we're drawing this over the next few months, if we see prices closing below 24 cents, I know with more of a higher degree of certainty, we're going down. We're probably going to go down all the way to 0.63, which is where HB1 is. Maybe we're going to go to 0.0513. Sorry, that's probably the more attractive target, because that's where our old round support is at. But we do have HB1 based on the weekly chart and HB2. So 63 cents and 0.063 and 0.053, which is a very large drop. And you guys can see that. So please look at this carefully. If we're getting below 24 cents, we could be going down by 73% and probably 79%. That's a big drop, okay? So you'll know it more with more of a certainty based on the accelerated adjustment lines showing continual weakness. There's no reason for us to be playing underneath 0.24. If you're looking for it to hold out support, we have some support at the old round flat action, but in this video I explained how I think that energy is depleted. Okay, but that's what we found today, and I'm glad you guys joined us for this program. We are going to be back tomorrow for WordRoom at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. In the meantime, let's conclude today by reading the Word of God. Remember, let's take the charts away from our mind for a few moments. It's great to look at charts, great to look at market, but let's do something that lasts into eternity. All right, we're going to go to Romans chapter 14. As for the one who is weak in faith, welcome him, but not to quarrel over opinions. One person believes he may eat anything, while the weak person eats only vegetables. Let not the one who eats despise the one who abstains. And let not the one who abstains pass judgment on the one who eats. For God has welcomed him. Who are you to pass judgment on the servant of another? It is before his own master that he stands or he fails, and he will be upheld. For the Lord is able to make him stand. One person esteems one another better than another, while another esteems all days alike. Each should be fully convinced in his own mind. The one who observes the day observes it in honor of the Lord. The one who eats in honor of the Lord. And since he gives thanks to God, while the one who abstains in honor of the Lord and gives thanks to God. For none of us lives to himself, and none of us dies to himself. For if we live to the Lord, and if we die to the Lord. So then, whether we live or whether we die, we are the Lord's. For to this end Christ died and lived again, that he might be the Lord both of the dead and of the living. Why do you pass judgment on your brother? Or why do you despise your brother? For we all stand before the judgment seat of God. For it is written, As I live, says the Lord, every knee shall bow to me, and every tongue shall confess to God. And so each of us will give an account of himself to God. Okay? I want to talk about this, but there's some things I want to talk about in this next part. So I'm going to finish this next part. Therefore, let us not pass judgment on one another any longer, but rather decide never to put a stumbling block or hindrance in the way of a brother. I know and I am persuaded in the Lord Jesus that nothing is unclean in and of itself, but it is unclean for anyone who thinks it's unclean. For if your brother is grieved by what you eat, you are no longer walking in love by what you eat. Do not destroy the one for whom Christ died. Do not let what you regard as good be spoken of as evil. For the kingdom of God is not a matter of eating or drinking, but of righteousness and peace and joy in the Holy Spirit. Whoever thus serves Christ is acceptable to God and approved by men. So then, let us pursue what makes for peace and mutual upbuilding. Do not, for the sake of food, destroy the work of God. Everything is indeed clean, but it is wrong for anyone to make another stumble by what he eats. It is good not to eat meat or wine or do anything that causes your brother to stumble. The faith that you have, keep between yourself and God. The faith that you have, keep between yourself and God. Blessed is the one who has no reason to pass judgment on himself for what he approves. But whoever has doubt is condemned if he eats, because he is not eating from faith. For whatever does not proceed from faith is sin. All right, here we go. Let's talk about these scriptures. Father, I pray that you would give us wisdom and guidance and open up our hearts as we hear the word of God. Lord, as we take your words into our heart, may you expound them and you bless them. For the Bible says that you have many more things to share, many more things than we can now bear. But when he, the Spirit of truth, comes, he will lead us and guide us in all wisdom and knowledge. Thank you, Lord, in Jesus' name. Amen. I want to point out a few things about this passage. There's a lot of critical elements that we as Christians look down on our brothers because of. I remember when I was young, we went to a local brother-sister church for the church that my dad was going to. And I remember all the young men of the church, they were like really hesitant to go visit the church that was just down the street. That was even part of the same ministry. We went to a church called Praise Chapel as we were young. And I just remember that the pastor is just so loving. But hearing the words that my dad had spoken, it was like, oh, I don't know who he thinks he is and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, wow, this guy seems really nice. And even when I was young, I still understood the ambition that we had. And it was almost, and I remember having a conversation with my dad about this years later, listening to his thoughts as my dad grew up in wisdom. He once said, man, he said, I was so judgmental of every church that looked different. And there's churches that don't believe just like you, or they may have a different style, or your church may not look like a normal church. Many of you guys to attend WordRoom, we have an online church, and it doesn't look like normal church, but God's doing that, a lot of that. There's a lot of home churches. I had a home church for a number of years. We took down the walls and everything. We had drums and praise and worship and soundproof our whole house and everything, and we had powerful church in a home for a number of years. There's a lot of people that are so critical of the church down the street, on your block, in your neighborhood, just because we think and believe a little bit different regarding doctrines. There's a few main things that we have to agree upon. That Christ came in the flesh and he was crucified and he died for your sins. But how you believe about end times, how you believe about rapture events, how you believe about Armageddon, how you believe about the future, how you believe about prophetic, how you believe about tongues, it's not going to change your ability to go to heaven. It may change the blessings that you receive on earth. It may change if I don't believe in speaking in tongues, I may not be blessed to speak in tongues because I don't believe that we should speak in tongues, if that's what you believe. And you may never speak in tongues. I don't believe in holy dance, so you're not going to believe in, you won't start holy dancing before the Lord. If you don't have faith to receive something, it's going to be very difficult for you to receive it. There's some people that, if you look at, for example, Thomas in the Bible. Thomas said, I'm not going to believe until I can put my hand in his side and I can feel and see the holes in his hands. And when Jesus came, was Thomas there? The first time he came, first appeared to the women. And then Jesus told all of the disciples, hey, I'm here, by appearing to Simon and Peter. By Simon, Peter, and John. And as he appeared to Peter and John, then he appeared to the rest of the disciples. But what was the sign of the rest of the disciples? The rest of the disciples could not believe that Jesus rose from the dead. They couldn't grasp it. You know who did believe? The girls. Mary and all of them who were at the tomb. The women. And then Peter and John, they said they wanted to believe. They wanted to believe. You know why they wanted to believe? Because they darted out the house and went to the tomb. They went because they wanted to believe. There are things that you're going to receive last because you don't believe them, and things that some people are going to get first because they do believe them. If you have a heart to receive, you'll be surprised what God can bring you. Until then, you shouldn't be judgmental or critical of your brother. Some people, they won't eat meat. Some people will not eat pork or anything unclean because it's called unclean. But Peter in the Bible, he said, God told him, rise and eat. And then it says, and thus he declared all foods clean. And then Jesus said, it's not the food that you're eating that makes you unclean. It's what comes out of you. What comes out of your mouth that makes you unclean. And God was telling us that I'm more concerned with the spiritual. But is there a benefit if you're not eating pork? Yeah, for the most part, there's a strong benefit. Pork is a very unclean animal. Do I like bacon? Oh yeah, I love my bacon. Is there a balance? Am I going to hell for that? Some people do not have a faith that allows them to eat it. For them, it's a sin. And that's also what Peter was talking about. He talked about here, he said in verse number 23 of Romans chapter 13, but whoever doubts is condemned if he eats, because he is eating not from faith. If you just do something, if I see another person, they're drinking wine, but for me, I can't drink wine because the Lord told me not to drink wine. And for me, if I drink it, it becomes a sin if I'm drinking. Another person can drink. But the Bible does talk about the drunkards and getting drunk. But another person says, I won't touch alcohol at all because for me it's a sin. If you can't touch alcohol for you at all, it's a sin. If you can't drink it, then for you it's not a sin. But you have to do that between you and God. It has to be according to your faith. If you're just doing because you saw somebody else doing it, it actually can be a sin for you depending on your Lord's going to tell your heart. It's going to condemn you. And here's another thing you can know this to be true. When somebody first gives their life to the Lord, are they messed up? Oh yeah, but they're saved by grace. The Bible says we're saved by grace. When we come to Jesus, he has a lot of things we have to deal with. We have a lot to deal with, and I get it. He's going to deal with all those things. I once know a drug addict, tons of drugs. He's doing all kinds of drugs, and he comes to the Lord. He's still messed up, but guess what? If he dies right now, he's going to heaven. He gave his life to the Lord. Is God going to deal with him and fix all those issues in his life? Absolutely. Does it happen right away? Sometimes. But many times it takes time. So God will deal with each person according to their faith. And that's how we have to think about these kinds of things. So when it comes to the issues, we can say, wow, look at that sinner. I don't do that. I don't do that. I don't do that. We need to stop judging them and let God deal with them over time. Pray for them. And when it comes to you, look at your own life and say, whoa, God still has a lot to cleanse me up. And maybe some things, maybe God hasn't talked to that person about drinking. Maybe God hasn't talked to that person about what the Bible says about tattoos or this or that. What about all these issues that God hasn't talked to that person about? Let the Lord deal with them and that person. Let each one of those persons have a church they go to and they can start walking closer and closer to the Lord or finding out what their God desires for their life. And if they already have those things, don't seek to change. That's what the Bible says. Don't seek to change them. But let the Lord start dealing with them. And as the Lord deals with them, he'll continue to work on their hearts for the future. Okay? And the Lord has a good way of cleansing us. Amen? Father, we thank you for this time, this wonderful morning. I thank you for the charts, and I thank you also for your word. I pray that we would be a loving people. I pray that we would be a people that would be holy and righteous. I pray that we would not be seeking an opportunity to sin, for as Paul says, all things are permissible, but not all things are beneficial. We look not to do all things because we can be getting ourselves into a mess. We can find ourselves in sin. Let us not use our grace as a permission to sin. Let us use our grace as a permission and time to get it right with you. Lord, I pray that you would just continue to heal our hearts and bless us and cleanse us from all unrighteousness. We thank you for everything that you've done and everything you're going to continue to do. We love you. In Jesus' name, amen. 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 All right. My friends, I love you guys. We will be back on Sunday at 5 p.m. and we'll have more time with you here.